Welcome to the world beyond belief. The idea of this show is to talk about our beliefs. The beliefs we hold are the only things that limit our possibilities. Conversely, beliefs are also the very things which allow us to expand our possibilities and broaden our horizons. By holding on to some of the beliefs which were given to us and reinforced by the media, the forces for involution, those who oppose consciousness evolution, hold us in a very limited range of what can be true or possible. Therefore, it is the premise of this show that by examining our beliefs and seeing them for what they are, simply beliefs, it's possible for us to change our belief wardrobe, if you will, and populate it with expanding and enabling beliefs. So the purpose of the world beyond belief is to examine beliefs, not to prove them right or prove them wrong, but to look at their effects on our individual lives and also on our collective consciousness.
Hello, I'm your host, Paul Marco, and tonight riding shotgun is my compañero, Mindy Erkin. Say hi, Mindy.
Hi, Mindy.
Now, this belief concept, I know this is a new way of looking at beliefs. To choose them consciously and hold them loosely so new information can allow modifications or you to throw out beliefs. Also picking them on the basis of what's enabling for you and not limiting for you. This may be a totally new concept or something that's so outrageous that you couldn't believe that anyone would choose their beliefs on something other than what's true. But actually, there are four things that most people feel about their beliefs. And if you look at them closely, I think you can pretty much see right through them. The first one is that our beliefs are true. They're simply true. I wouldn't hold a belief that wasn't true. Well, if that were the case, then wouldn't everybody have exactly the same beliefs? Or even everybody raised in the same environment have the same beliefs? Well, you find that that's really not the case. That there are a range, even within my family, the range of what we believe, how we look at things is really radically different. My beliefs are as true as the next person, is what I always say. So, if you think your beliefs are true, you're in the same boat with everybody else. Everybody believes that their beliefs are true, simply true. The second thing that most people think is that if another person would hear them articulate their beliefs and the reason for adopting those beliefs, and that person was reasonable. Now, these are a lot of givens. And that person was reasonable, objective, and open-minded. Each of these people would agree with the beliefs held, with your beliefs held, and think that they're obvious truths also. Well, I don't know whether you've ever tried to do this, but people come up with different views and different beliefs, even based on the same data. And people are swayed by how the beliefs are put forward, the emotional tone of the beliefs, and actually whether it conflicts with some self-justifications that they have holding beliefs in place. So I think that if you still believe that's true, find one of these objective, reasonable, and open-minded people and persuade them to your point of view. I think you're gonna find that you're gonna have a little trouble with that one. The third one is people feel their beliefs are based on real data. And I think that there are different things, and what's real data to one person may not be real data to the other. Now, what I always think of with that is scientific data. If I think of the FDA, and the FDA, now I assume that they have scientists, and I'm assuming that these scientists are using a certain methodology, and they're coming up with findings like fluoride is beneficial to put in the water, aspartame is a good thing to have in your diets, and GMOs cause no harm. Now, on the other side of the issues, on those three issues I mentioned, there are scientists coming up with the opposite. That aspartame is really destructive to your health, and GMOs are a plague on the planet. So, which of these scientists are using real data? I think it's hard to determine.
Well, maybe it's true that actually you find the data to back up the belief that you have first, and it's not the other way around, that the belief isn't based on the data, but the data can be found to back up any belief you hold.
Right, and in the examples I gave, it is where's the money? The fourth thing is, as you hinted at, Mindy, everybody believes that the data they select are real data, and that they have the true evidence here, and they can back up their beliefs. People choose the data based on the beliefs that they hold, actually to back up the data. And so it gets to be a do loop, a never-ending do loop, where you have a belief, you select the belief, you select the data that reinforces that belief, and then you get back to the same beliefs again. So it's actually, your mind plays a do loop on you when you're selecting data.
Yes. Well, I'd just like to interject this thought that anyone can go on the internet and find what they perceive to be a credible source to back up any opinion that they might hold.
Right, that's very true, Mindy. There are truths. There are things that are true in a certain moment in time and exist, and you can refer back to these truths. Most people's beliefs, though, are constructions based on their interpretation of the truth, or with a bit of the truth and a little bit of this, and so most of the beliefs that are limiting and can be changed to inspiring and infinitely possible beliefs are beliefs that are based on not on truths, on some person's opinion that this is a truth, or some research or some finding that this might be the truth. But there are truths.
Yeah, and I suppose in the context that we are talking about today is more of a commonly held notions that fall under the category of beliefs.
So we're going to tinker with today?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right on target.
All right.
Today we're going to look at commonly held beliefs regarding human chronology. In other words, how do we get here, and really what we actually are. But before I go, one more disclaimer. To be perfectly clear, the purpose of this program is not to prove or disprove anything. I won't argue with your belief. I know we're tinkering with the primordial nature of what makes a person is their belief and their belief wardrobe. I just want you to, I'm going to tread lightly on your beliefs because after all, they're your beliefs. I simply want you to think about holding them lightly and considering them for what they are, their beliefs. And also, how does this belief affect you, your behavior, both individually, and if everyone were to hold this belief, how would that affect our collective consciousness? Would it be a freeing type of belief, or would it be severely limited? Well, let's dive into the subject matter for today. There's three commonly held chronologies that explain how we got here and what we're doing, actually what we are. There's the creationist theory. God created us in 7 days. There's the evolutionist theory. And there's the new boy on the block, the ancient astronaut theory of the Anunnaki. Did I get that right?
I always say Anunnaki.
Anunnaki, that's much better.
I don't know if one is correct and one's not, but more
Right.
commonly you'll hear that one.
Now, out of these 3 stories, I have no idea which one is correct. They might all be correct a little bit, or there might be one that's just totally correct. What I want to look at is the effects that these have. Well, first of all 3 of them have us springing from incredibly humble beginnings. The one seems to depict us as being created from clay. That's the ultimate in humility. The other one says that we're an offshoot of an ape-like species. And I know I'm not saying that exactly correctly, but you know what I mean. And the other one is we were created as mining slaves from an ape-like species by combining the species with the alien DNA that created us. Let's start with the creationist theory. I don't know, when I first heard it, I thought it was constructed as a counterpoint to the evolutionist story, so the evolutionist story would have a stronger platform against what some people would think would be the weaker of the two. The way it goes is, of course, God, a male off-planet creator God, created in 7 days everything on the earth, including man. This male creator God set us in place and it kind of gave us rules for engagement. These were called commandments. To me, thinking in terms of as a developmental psychologist, when you're given commandments, it doesn't really give you a lot of parameters for experimental or creative actions. I mean, it's pretty much a commandment. I mean, it's a command. So apparently there was no interest in this creator God in developing consciousness or consciousness expansion. In education, we would call this a summative type situation where you're given what you need to take the test, and then your test, and then there's a judgment at the end. And the judgment will dole out rewards or punishment based on your adherence to the commandments. To this story.
Well, this story presupposes that humankind on their own would need someone to tell them, "Thou shalt not kill," as if without that law or rule or commandment, they would just do that.
Exactly. You're getting to see how this is going to affect your reality if you hold this belief. On the upside, this belief leaves us with clear parameters, or pretty much clear parameters, although, thou shalt not kill is really in certain,
There's no room for exceptions.
There's no room for exceptions, but we do make exceptions. There's a real incentive for following these rules. You get to go to heaven, and there's punishment for not following these rules. So, there's an incentive on how to behave.
You don't have to think, you just follow the rules and you'll be okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. As a matter of fact, the less you can think, probably the better off you're going to be following this belief. On the downside, commandments dictate no room for growth. As you said before, Mindy, our species has no moral compass. It assumes we have no moral compass on our own. How does this leave us collectively and individually? A society holding this belief would be probably like their God. They would probably be very judgmental. In other words, deviance from this would not be tolerated. Like homosexuality.
Well, I think we're kind of living in a world where this is pretty much true, that it is a very judgmental society that bases